So I wanted to take the new exotic SMG Barrow Dyad and see if it was build worthy. And I have to say I was pleasantly surprised. It does so much more than I initially thought, and it's an absolute beast if you use the weapon properly. I think if you guys test it out and use it in the playstyle that I show you, you might just be keeping it on longer than you think. And in all of this gameplay, I am 20 power level under in this week's Nightfall, so pretty difficult content here. First off, this is a primary ammo exotic, which means it hits red bars 40% harder. It also gives us the most super energy gains when dealing damage. I believe it's 4 times the super gains. And I'm not joking when I say you can have your super back in 30 seconds. And that's thanks to how much damage the Blighted Seekers do in combo with a roaming super from the super regen buffs they received. And that's the playstyle I want you to focus on. We want to get those 6 Blighted Seekers up as fast as possible, and as you can see in the gameplay, you can fire these off so fast if you do it right. And I'm talking back to back to back. These Blighted Seekers hit red bars hard, around 10k damage per Blighted Seeker, but then they bounce between 3 to 5 enemies. That's at least what I could track through my testing. And you're hitting each one of these for that damage amount. So now you have to think of it as one individual Blighted Seeker doing anywhere from 30k to 50k damage. If there are just a couple enemies nearby, you're getting that much damage out of one Blighted Seeker. But it gets even better than that. Oh, and those Blighted Seekers also track very aggressively. I wish some other abilities tracked as good as these things do. Maybe like the Sentinel Shield Throw Bungee, huh? Come on. Now the Blighted Seekers also have an area of effect explosion that deals their damage to anything close enough. In high enemy dense areas, you see this AoE popping off more and more, and it's just awesome to see. So just more overall damage thanks to that area of effect. Now we're not going to worry much about the auto refill of the magazine, because you should be getting 3 to 6 stacks of the Blighted Seekers so fast that you're better off reloading and firing them off. What the auto refill of the magazine does is basically allow you to have enough ammo over time in there to create your 6 stacks of Seekers and then reload and fire them off. That's why the mag stops at 34 and doesn't go up to its 35. So you can reload, right? But we're not going to worry about this at all. Like I said, you should be getting your 3 to 6 stacks quick enough that it's better to reload and fire them off. Also, there is no special reload required, which is amazing, where you have to like hold down the reload button, right? And this makes the weapon just feel really smooth because of that. Just click reload and you're good to go. I wish more weapons did it this way. Now, as the intrinsic Taken Divergence perk, it says hitting 3 enemies fills a large portion of your Blighted Seekers. If you watch your bar in the bottom left, you'll see that hitting 3 enemies gives us half of our bar, which is 3 Blighted Seekers. If we then hit 3 enemies again, whether it's the same 3 enemies or a brand new 3 enemies, we have a full bar for the full 6 Blighted Seekers. This should be your goal and how you should be using this weapon. I found it the best to just hip fire and tag 3 enemies. That's it. Don't even try to kill one, just hip fire across your screen and tag them. I know this is different than the normal Destiny playstyle, but you can fill all 6 Seekers in a matter of seconds in doing this. Then just reload and let the Seekers fly and rinse and repeat. Now when Act 2 starts of Heresy, we will get the One for All Catalyst, which will just add a 35% weapon buff for free, since we're already doing what that catalyst is going to require, which is hitting 3 separate targets. This will add that damage to the Blighted Seekers as well, and they will be mowing through enemies. Now Barrow Dyad is also a strand weapon, so make sure you take the 2 artifact mods called Unraveling Orbs and Horde Shuttle. When you pick up an Orb of Power, you gain Unraveling Rounds. This will let the weapon apply Unraveling to every single enemy you see, and when your Blighted Seekers bounce between 4 to 5 enemies in their tracking, those will still be applying Unravel to every enemy they hit. Then with Horde Shuttle, damaging unraveled targets with a weapon occasionally spawns Threadlings. This is how you see us popping out Threadlings left and right, and again, the Blighted Seekers proc this, damaging different enemies that are already unraveled. So now instead of damaging one enemy that's unraveled, you're damaging 3 to 5 random enemies on the screen with those 6 Blighted Seekers, all of which will be proccing Unraveled, and all of which will have the chance to be popping out Threadlings. Sometimes you will see like 5 to 10 Threadlings on your screen at once. Also, for your rounds, when you craft this weapon, you can put on ricochet rounds. Rounds ricochet off hard surfaces. This just gives you a bit more of a chance to hit 3 different targets. It makes it a little bit easier if you miss a shot. So I definitely suggest putting that on there. Now there are a couple mods that make this weapon feel a lot better. Of course, take a strand siphon in your helmet. This just creates orbs of power on double kills, and again, the blighted seekers proc this. You also want to take at least one strand loader on your gauntlets to increase the reload speed of your strand weapons. And then in the gameplay, I had 2 strand weapon surges on. This is so it gives me a 17% damage buff in PvE. And I pair that with a time dilation, so it makes my armor charge last 15 seconds, and I can pick up 3 armor charges. So at max, I can get 45 seconds of an extra 17% damage buff on this weapon. And like I said, later on when we pair the one for all with this, tacking on another 35% on there. And all of that I just went over basically combines and make it feel the best as you possibly can. If you're just shooting one target, it doesn't really feel that good. What makes this weapon tick is those blighted seekers. So as long as you just tag 3 different enemies really quickly, hip fire across the screen, like I cannot stress this enough, and reload, you're gonna have a really fun time with a primary ammo weapon like this, as you can see in the gameplay. Now for my subclass build to build around Dyad, I actually went a different route than you might think. We do not use Peacekeepers. Peacekeepers still feel pretty good, but the way that I'm playing this build is Peacekeepers goes away when I reload, and I'm always reloading, right? Because I'm getting those Seekers, and I don't care about the damage that my normal weapon does because I'm not even sighting in and shooting one enemy to kill that one enemy. Very rarely am I ever doing that. So I chose to build on the Arc Titan. This is similar to my last Arc Titan video where I used Heart of Inmost Light with the Storm's Keep aspect and the barricade, right, to call down those bolts of lightning. And the subclass is set up the same way, except for a big change. I went with Fist of Havoc here, and I paired that with the exotic Eternal Warrior. For high enemy dense areas like you see in the gameplay, this was just great. I could have popped my Fist of Havoc more often if I really wanted to, but I wanted to try to just show you the power of the weapon in general, so I tried to stay away from using my super that often. But you'll see me getting that super back because our exotic weapon is doing so much damage, and this is the roaming super that got buffed in its regen, that you're gonna have your super so fast. When you're using Fist of Havoc, just jump up in the air, hit your heavy attack, and slam your fist to the ground and create that blinding explosion and leave the arc quakes on the ground. And Eternal Warrior actually got a buff this season where you actually get extra super energy back when you kill an enemy. This is with the heavy attack or the light attack. So sometimes that heavy attack in these high enemy areas can last a long time. And then you also get that bonus to arc weapon damage when you come out of your super. I wasn't really taking advantage of this, but I was running Indebted Kindness and Watchful Eye as my 2 weapons, both arc weapons, and even the Watchful Eye had target lock on it. So if there was a champion or a high health target coming out of my super, I could melt them with that heavy machine gun. So I think I've talked long enough. I will leave the Mobalytics link and the dim link down below, so you guys can click on that and go copy it. But essentially it's the same as that last Arc Titan setup, except with a different super, a different exotic, and a few mod changes. So remember, just hip fire this weapon and hit 3 enemies. If you only have 3 enemies in front of you, then hit them twice, and then reload the weapon, and you'll have those 6 Seekers available. If there's more than 3 enemies on the screen, like you see in all the gameplay you're watching, just hip fire across that screen, you'll fill up your bar so fast in the bottom left, click your reload, and fire off those blighted Seekers. It's really simple once you just get the concept down of what you're trying to do. And I know it's hard to adjust in gameplay styles, right? If you just run a couple activities doing this, it'll just become second nature where you hip fire it, and then you'll start seeing those blighted Seekers go off. Thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Have a great rest of your day.